Clash of Clans Podcast, OG, episode 52. Welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Scotty827, joined in studio by the fabulous, the one, the only, the Chewie, co-leader of L, General Chewie of our CWL, and we'll be getting into the second part of our conversation in just a second. So if you haven't heard the first part, it is episode 51. Go check it out. Right before this, we were talking about changing modes and expectations in going from regular mode to hard mode and what to expect in tournaments. And I'm going to just cue us right back into the conversation right here.
That's that. Yeah, that I think is, I don't want to say the most frustrating thing because um it's fun that they introduce like changes in the game, new levels and defenses and things, because you want there to be variety, right? You don't want
Yeah.
it to be too easy. And Town Hall 16 kind of towards the end was getting a little stale, to be honest. Uh, and it was nice with 17, and okay, 17 has proven to be slightly different, and definitely now the defenses are leveled up, and it's different strategies. Yeah, there's still, I mean, you were talking about my log. I was looking at my log today. Still, most people are attacking me with Root Riders and Valkyries, and I think like every 2 attacks is usually that as a combination. It seems, and are they the most successful? I think no. I think the most successful is still dragons. I think my base obviously has a slight weakness against dragons, and I'll probably have to look into that. But there's a lot of very successful Root Rider attacks
Oh, yeah.
that I'm seeing.
Mine are Root
Um,
Riders too. And Dragons.
yeah, yeah. So they're obviously the most prevalent ones. No one hits me with super hogs, which I'm like really disappointed about. I'd love to see,
I keep
but
forgetting to try that one because I finally got my hogs leveled up when I was waiting
yeah,
to do it. And you can
we should.
FC without the boosts, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's because I keep forgetting that. Just to try it out. But like we're kind of been on that schedule where we get done with CWL, or like, and it's the next war, and you're like, I'm gonna start practicing this army, and then pretty soon you're like, I'm like right up.
Yeah.
It's like right before CWL again, and I don't want to try out a non-tested army.
Yeah, I find you need to, and I think that was one of the things that was holding me back a little bit. That's why it took me doing so badly in Legendly to go, that's it, I've had enough. I need to switch. It's that kind of worry, right? You don't want to go into war and not do well. Though to be fair, the wars don't CWL matters, right?
Yeah,
It's that's what we're warring for, really. The normal wars, I don't think you
it's
need to take them overly seriously. Everyone's got
no,
2 hits.
yeah,
If you get a couple of 2 stars because you're trying something else out, there'll be someone else who will pick up a 3.
yeah.
And if we win, we win. Great, you get extra ore, obviously. But
It's more
we're
practice for
not.
the regular things.
No, we're not like trying to be the best
Best
clan in the world with the most
war
wins in a
wins.
season. You
Yeah,
want to, you practice to get better at it,
yeah.
right? And
Risk a
that's
little bit.
exactly. So I think that's such a really good time to do it. Using Legend League is also really good to do it, but then you have to accept you're going to drop, right? You
Yeah,
have to accept that there's going to be that period.
I've
Definitely
been.
don't practice in hard mode to get good in normal mode. That doesn't work. To be
Well,
fair, because like I said,
shit.
it's too different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. That might be just a big thing that is happening to me right now in the game is switching between the modes because they look identical, besides
yeah,
saying hard mode and just not differentiating it enough in my head. Because like you said, I will go in and practice on hard mode and then hit and I feel like it kind of just beefs me up a little bit. but I'm
Yeah,
not doing the hard mode like I should be doing. I think after like talking to you about this, where I'm not paying super close, it's close attention to the particulars that I would have maybe. Of course, we're doing it really fast, right? Like
yeah,
these things,
yeah,
but I'm looking at it more like a legend attack than like
exactly.
a war attack when I was
Yeah,
like a 15 against a 17. And
yeah,
I
but
got to
yeah,
look
and
at it like that.
indeed, and but it's funny that you say the legend attack, right? Because I think each war that you go into, because obviously not everyone does wars, right? So the way that the wars that we've been involved with so far have gone, you have a 5 minute prep time, which is meant to be 5 minutes to get your clan castles filled and to choose the type of base you want, and the number of people that put in a silly looking base and then switch it at the last minute, which I don't get, because you then get half an hour to do your hits.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you have to hit at very specific times, and we've had that in one war and not in the other. So I think in one war we needed 2 hits in the first 15 minutes, and then the other 3 hits could be whenever. Then the next war we did, we just had 30 minutes to hit whenever we wanted to, so we had a little bit more time. And then in the next comp we're about to do, we have to hit at very specific times. Huh? So
Yeah.
it's literally okay. You have to hit at I think it's like 40 minutes. Then the next guy has to hit at like 37. The next one
Yeah. I
34.
was like,
It's like I think the or you get like 4 or 5 minutes. Um, because the idea behind them is that every single person should be hitting separately. But the reason I'm bringing up is that it's a short period of time. I mean, half an hour
yeah.
probably sounds like a lot, but then to what extent do most people jump in and do a Clan War League hit straight away without thinking?
Yeah.
Um, Now, even if you do, it's because you're doing Legends League or you're doing other attacks and you're already in that mode. Whereas none of that helps you when you need to do a hard mode attack. You have to have only done friendly challenges in hard mode. Like we said, it is obviously a bit harder, but it's harder. But
Yeah.
you need to be more focused. The reality is you have to be more focused. You have to give it more thought, that you have such a short period of time to do that.
Mm,
So you need to be more switched on. I think the last war we did, I think you were running to a class. I think Swim had to, likewise. I had
yeah.
something on as well. So it was a case of jumping in. We need to quickly do a hit, right?
Yeah. And you
In a
said we
short
didn't,
period of time,
yeah.
having not really done any practice necessarily, that we did a few that day, and then everyone's hitting individually. Um, I think to get good at it, you need to give yourself like an hour before, do a lot of different hits. And I know I'm not going to give him a shout out later because I gave him a massive shout out last time, so I'll mention him now. But GCBC was saying to me yet again, why aren't you getting on chat? Why aren't you guys talking to each other? That's the best way to get good. Have
Yeah.
someone spot for you, have someone talk you through the strategy so they hear what you want to do and give them feedback.
Yeah.
Which is obviously is incredibly good advice.
Yeah.
Difficult when you're hitting during the day and you literally have given yourself half an hour
Yeah.
to do this
You're like
tournament.
squeezing it in.
Indeed. So I think what will help us do better is we need to make sure when we're doing these wars that we can be focused. I think we need to get into this habit of talking to each other and planning a little bit. I
Yeah.
think we're all good enough that we don't need to do it so much in normal mode.
Yeah.
Sometimes it helps, and we will do it as well. People will ask for advice, but I think most of us have gotten pretty good in the Clan War League we're in Masters too, that we don't usually have to. And
Yeah.
if we fail, it's not because we've completely misread the base; it's because something went wrong,
Yeah.
that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
Um, but with hard mode, I think it's if you want to do well in it, like you said, it's like a 15 hitting a 17, right? Or 15 hitting a 16,
Yeah.
or even just being 15-15 back in Town Hall 15. was really tough, and you needed someone to be able to look at it and give feedback, because then it would planning usually does help, and
Yeah.
hearing a different voice and someone else to say, okay, this is going wrong, your queen's wandering off, you need to drop your you need to drop your spell now.
Yeah.
If you agree up front, okay, you're going to tell me when to drop the spells. You're going to tell me, you're going to look at the side to tell me if my king's about to die because I need him to do,
Yeah.
something specific. That probably would benefit us.
Well, I mean,
But would you want to do that? Would you want to take it that far? Because that's, that's going
oh,
from being a game to being serious, you know?
oh, you mean like during those tournament modes, like
Yeah.
those tournament
Yeah.
times, like dialing? Oh yeah, I'd be happy. I'd be
Yeah.
up for that. Because I mean, we have to be there anyways, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. We're online anyway, right? We're
yeah,
all
we're
online at the same time.
like
Yeah.
I would like to unless like, of course, there's probably be times where you can't, because of life stuff. But like, I'd like when we're doing the tournaments to like, at least for whoever can get on, plan on being on to look at those bases. Because I mean, I think this last one went pretty smooth because you were, said, okay, swim you pick first, and kind of went through that.
Yeah.
Um, but that spotting would be really nice. And as you're talking, what kind of made me think about and to go along with that is I should just copy your army that you're running, or one of them, and then practice with that, so that way when we go into one of those comps, like let's say like the dragon, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
then that comp and I know that comp. And then, so if you were like looking at 1 and 3, like we were looking at last time, and you were like, well, I could take either one. Well, that way, if you were spotting me, we could both say, well, it started here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like we would be using like that particular strategy. So
So it makes it easier to give feedback and advice, you mean?
yeah, yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
saying everybody had to do that, but I could see like for me in the position that I've been in so far, like that might be a benefit. Or like I should just copy one of your comps, for example, and just practice with it. And if I like it and I can do it, then like the next war, if you're looking at it, you could go, hey, I would hit it from this. And if I thought it was like that, we'd be talking the same language with the same
Yeah,
spells
exactly.
and
Yeah.
troops. And
Yeah.
because we kind of do that with the meta stuff, but I've, mine's a little varied. And
Yeah. So I don't disagree. I
I meant
don't
for, for
just
me.
don't just don't just copy someone. It has to be an army that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're going to copy someone's, then you could, in theory, you could copy Swims because it's quite
Right.
similar
Right.
to yours.
Yeah.
Um, I am just afraid you're going to take Super Hogs and be so much better at it than me.
No,
But
no. Oh God.
it's
No
entirely
one's ever
possible.
said that to me before.
That's entirely possible.
No.
Hey, I tried your Super Bowler army, and no, I never got to the heights you got with your Bowler army, I've got to say.
And
But I
part of
did
me is
love it. I thought that
maybe
was
it's
a
like
really cool army
it's
to
kind
use.
of fun. I just
It was really good fun.
but
But it's funny because it's like you were then saying, when you used to talk about the Super Bowl army with like tip on the pod and things, then that's one of the reasons why I started using it, was because it made me think in certain ways, right? And it just takes someone else talking about it.
yeah.
Then you're like, okay, all right, let me try it like that. Let me try like that. So I think it definitely helps when like two members of the team maybe have the same type of army. And we've got a lot of choice. I use Super Hogs. I think Warpig uses Mass Dragons, right?
Yeah.
Um, and Swims obviously uses the mostly a Root Rider army.
Very
Um,
similar to mine.
yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think what Beer was running. I can't remember, to be honest. But because he also was doing very well in the hard mode.
Yeah.
And oh no, he of course, yeah, he's also he's dragons. He's the dragon guy as well. So it's if you've got a couple of guys who do say air, you've got a couple of guys that do variations on the ground mode. That helps because then there are obviously certain bases which are easier for ground or easier for air because they're trapping against one or the other, right? I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that comes up a lot in, when you have Ghost Knight on, and you've had Tip used to talk about this a lot as well when he was on. People design bases usually against a particular strategy. You can't design a base against everything because you need different traps in different areas. The defense is obviously going to target in different ways. And like we said, in hard mode, the defenses are more powerful.
Yeah.
You've got the situations, or at least they're harder to take down, right? You've got a situation that your heroes are less effective. So it becomes very important then that you are choosing, I guess, the right army against the right base. You're choosing the right entry point. So having two people that will both do it, then indeed you can give each other a
Yeah.
slightly different viewpoint. Well, I think like this, I think like that, and then you need to obviously come to a common understanding of, okay, I'm going to try it like this.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, and then you begin to recognize who's better at what a little bit. And I think some people are really good at spotting, how they're going to enter into a base.
Yeah.
Um, Wim is brilliant at describing it, by the way. Every time I've heard him talking
He's
to on the pod, he can describe the way he comes into the base so well that
yeah.
like I can easily visualize it in my head, just by
Yep.
hearing what he says. He obviously knows that part so well. Whereas I've noticed with you, anytime I watch you attack, he's just I keep thinking to myself, oh, he's going to fail in the center. Oh my God, this is going to go so bad. And you just breeze through the center. Whereas usually I would panic. You
Oh,
seem to just hold everything to just the right moment.
no, no,
So
that's
your
blind
your
panic.
middle part can really, I don't believe it for a
No,
second, because
no, it
your
is.
middle part of most attacks are just they do look absolutely right, perfect timing for everything. And I think that's
It's
common with a
chaos.
lot of players though, that
It-
there are certain parts people are more confident on.
yeah.
I'm I, I'm terrified of my opening going
Are
wrong,
you?
but when it goes right, I'm then really confident with the what to do with my hogs and when to put my spells down and when to send in my other troops. That part I'm confident with. But getting the first minute and a half done, I'm like on tender hooks, thinking, "Don't go wrong, don't go wrong, don't go wrong." But then afterwards, and I'm like, "Okay, I know exactly where the hogs are going to go." And I've been playing with hogs since what was it, Town Hall?
Mm,
What was it,
eight,
9 or no? I actually no, they came out in Town Hall
seven.
7. So it's a troop I know. So then it's a troop I'm used to in parting and things like that. So
Yeah.
you become more confident. So I think that's critical. It should be an army you feel comfortable with. It's good to be an army that you can talk to someone else about,
Yeah.
especially if there's a part that you're less certain on. If
Yeah.
if the other guy's really good at openers and you're better thinking on the macro level, right? And he's really good at the micro, then the combination works well. And that, I guess, is the advantage of planning together.
Yeah.
That hopefully, like you said, you get two different viewpoints, and it should hopefully make it go better. And that
Yeah.
instead of getting
Or
a what was it, a 70%, you get maybe an 85 the first time, and then after that, you start pushing higher and higher, I guess.
or at least like somebody even saying, "Oh, I think they're gonna path this way," right? Or like,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
yeah, like, um, and probably
You
more for my position of like going kind of last. I think everybody like being a little bit more flexible right now. Like it might
yeah,
be
I
a.
yeah, I also think you need to stop going last, huh?
Do you think so?
Yeah, yeah. I think the and the reason why I say that is that going last also puts pressure as well, right? And I'm not suggesting you crumble under the pressure or anything like that,
No, I do
but
not do well.
I think you're it's like you just said now, right? Oh, it's always chaos when I attack.
Yeah,
It doesn't look that way. So I don't believe it's like that in every attack that you do. What I can maybe think is that it may well be, especially as it's tournament, and we're
Yeah.
trying to be overly focused on it. I think going first sometimes is easier, probably, because it's like, okay, it's everything's level. We don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to jump in and do my hit, right? I'm not going to think about it. It's no time to think. You're not building
Yeah.
up in yourself. Um, I think going like when there's five of us, right? I think the first war I did my attack fourth from last, and obviously when there's 3 and 3, I did it bang in the middle, right? So,
Yeah.
but I even found going in the middle that it gave me, I because I was doing dragons and I thought I'm definitely going to do dragons, and then I started hesitating towards the end. I was like, crap, maybe I shouldn't have done dragons. I'm not sure if I should be doing, but I was reasonably confident. I think you need to. It's good that whoever's going to go last has to be very, very certain. As in, I'm going to attack like this. This is how I always attack. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go out. I'm going to attack. I'm going to get my
I'm not
stars. I'm done.
that. Just looking
Um,
behind myself. I don't know who. It's probably not big.
so I think that that's kind of quite important, right? And then so if we're doing like a 5 versus 5, we put the most confident attacker last. The guy who doesn't worry, just jumps in, he does it. I think those of us who maybe have a tendency to overthink things, it's probably better if we go a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd put me in the same category as you. I think me and you maybe should go a little earlier. We should leave
Yeah.
someone like Swim, who is very confident. He knows exactly what he's going to do. Like I said, he's really good at opening. So
Yeah.
he knows, right, if I do this, the rest of the attack will go as I hopefully intend it to. And he's been really consistent as well in
Yeah.
his hard attacks from all the attacks I've seen him do. So I think someone like him makes sense to go last because he won't overly think things. Um, yeah, you get more time to plan if you go last, but to
It's
what
not even.
extent do you need that?
Yeah.
Do you,
And
I
I'm not
think that's the
even.
important thing. It's the balance, huh?
I'm not even sure I'm getting anything out of that because really, I think where my panicking, or maybe it's just choking a little bit, comes is the prep for it. Like, okay, we
Yeah,
gotta go. It's 3 minutes left to hit. And I'm just double checking things, and it's that like, okay, let me double check, double check. Oh wait, how much time do we have left? Double check, double check. And
yeah,
like, I think on that, I think I'll do better on that hit on the certain minute because
I think
then
so.
I'll
Yeah,
just be like, okay, this is coming up. All right, 1 minute left. Okay, let me just double check this instead of like, oh, let me double check again and double check this. And
yeah, exactly. The more time you're gonna psych yourself out a little bit, and because you've mentioned that before as well about the you know if you know what you're going to do, you look at the base and you'll think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then if you go in and do it, you tend to do better than if you overly think things through and you have the time to doubt yourself.
yeah,
I think a lot of people are probably more like that, right? Which is why there's, you know, you have some people as what is it? Tip always used to say he would spend hours planning out his attacks, right? And he
yep,
would get everything just right. And therefore he hated competition type games where everything was really quick. He didn't hate it, but
yeah,
he found it more difficult, right?
yep.
Because he was very meticulous. I mean, he used to say that he would literally,
You'd have a
like
board with all
have
the
board with
things with
exactly,
red yarn tied
he,
between them. Can I put?
the ultimate commander on the battlefield, knowing exactly what's going to take place.
And they marched
Whereas
in
some of
order.
us, indeed, some of us are better at just reacting, right? It's like, okay, give yourself a quick think, maybe get a bit of advice. Does this sound good? Does that sound good? Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to
Yeah.
do it. And you don't give yourself the chance to get psyched out. I don't think it's choking. Choking is, I, yeah, I always like sort of say choking is something you have tendency to do when you're not confident in yourself, or you don't think you have a reason to be confident. You do very well. in clan war leagues. If you choked, you'd choke in the clan war league, right?
Yeah.
You'd struggle with your legend league attacks and things like that because they're also really high pressure. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's that. I think it's more that like legend league, you have 30 seconds you have to hit. Clan war league, um, you have the tendency to usually go last as well.
I know.
Um, I've noticed. I'm still not quite getting that because you're online as soon as we start. Is so when we
Well,
start a new war, I always do the war spins, so it's perfect timing for you and the US based guys. And I'm usually going to bed and say, "Good luck, everyone. I'll do my war hits at the end of the day." And I come online and like half the clan hasn't hit yet, and you're like the last one always to hit. So
well, I've been since the update, I felt like if I get to the end of Legends Day and I'm
yeah,
doing really well, then I'll hit.
yeah,
But like the last few times I've been rolling underneath, like I've been
yeah,
decreasing. And so I've been thinking like, oh, maybe I just want to look at that base longer. Maybe I'll figure it out. And in the past few wars before, like waiting, I was doing better because I would look at the base, think about it, and then I'd end up hitting maybe one or two that kind of look like it, and I'd come back and do well. But yeah, it's that the Legend League day I think is psyching me out to not do it at right away in the
early on.
war. And
Okay.
so maybe I just need to kind of figure that out too a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, but as soon as I know that like there's pressure, I not all the time, but like every so often I'm like, oh, okay, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And
Oh no.
maybe
Oh
I
no.
just put
Everyone's
the
looking. I
yeah,
need to do
yeah.
well now.
But
Yeah.
it's getting better. That's practice too, I guess.
No, it definitely is. I did. It's funny. So I did a comp war with I don't remember whose clan it was. I think it was when I was in what was it? Going back a while. The I can't remember names anymore. My brain's gone. But I was in one of Kenny Joe's plans, and some of the guys wanted to do a comp one. They wanted to do a 5v5, and it was one of these sort of things where they were like, "Okay, who wants to jump in and join in?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay, I'll join in." And I was at Town Hall 13 because it was the Town Hall 13 war, and so I used just my usual hybrid attack. And hybrid I was doing really well in. And I was like, yeah, I know how to do hybrid. That's absolutely fine. And we all got one hit. And everyone was like, hey, which base do you want? And everyone was like claiming them. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm taking that one. This was my first
Yeah.
time. So I was like, and then everyone went. And then I was like, crap, I'm last.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Um, and I was thinking, I'm using the army, I know. And then, but it was also, oh, okay, crap. Now I need to, yeah, we're running out of time. I need to jump in, and I ended up getting like similar to you last time. Like got like a 1 star and a high level 1 star, and I was like mortified.
Uh,
And I said to the guys, "I'm so sorry. I always can get a 2 star. It's like just like really bad, and I'm really really sorry." And they were like, "It happens to everyone the first time." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "You could have told me." It's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's why
yeah.
it's fine. We all got 3 stars, so it doesn't matter." It's like, "Okay,
Stage
thanks for
fright.
that." Yeah, but it wasn't even. Yeah, it was a bit of stage fright, and it was the I'm attacking in a way I'm not used to.
Yeah.
Right, I'm doing something outside of my comfort zone, and if usually you do a bunch of Legends League attacks to get you in the mode, and then you do your war attack, then you've had that warm up, right?
Yeah.
For me, I have to do. It's going to sound really weird. I have to do my war attacks in the morning.
Do you?
So I found if I do them in the evening, I can do Legend League attacks okay in the evening because they don't
Yeah.
matter as much. Or if I don't get a 3 star, it's like okay, fine, right? But I tend to usually I'm doing okay,
Yeah.
and I do a lot in an hour. I'll do like 6 Legend League attacks in an hour. But with Clan War League, because I know it matters more. If I do it in the evening, I also know that then my focus is gone. It's like the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, And whereas if I do it in the morning, I've just had 2 cups of coffee, I'm like incredibly overly alert. So then I'm on
Yeah.
top of it, and then I can get them done. So for me, that works great. But then like we did the we did the comp war, and it was like lunchtime for you guys. It was like early
Yeah.
evening for me. So I think none of us were in our
Yeah.
comfort zone of when we like to attack.
Not
And yeah, it
yeah,
just
not really in that rehearsed thing too, where you
no,
just kind of pop in
exactly.
out
It's
of in like the day and just do,
indeed,
you
yeah,
know, like normally you'd go somewhere and like, get okay, here we are to do this thing, and it's just
yeah.
like
So it
so,
matters. I think that's the key thing, right? It does matter the comfort level that you have matters when you're moving into doing the attacking. That if if it's a situation where you're slightly out of your comfort zone, attacking quicker or like you said, attacking at a specific time means then you're not going to overthink things,
yeah,
right? You're not going to psych yourself out. You're not going to be uh doubting anything or be like, I attack at this time, I'm attacking with this army, fine, right, jump. I go in, I've done my bit, I hand it to someone else. And I think that's kind of a nice thing in a team
yeah,
dynamic, and which is why I like Clan Wars League as well so much, is that okay, maybe I didn't do great, but the guy after me can maybe help out, you
yeah,
know? And some people respond really well to being the next guy who people rely on, especially if they're more confident, they're more
yeah.
filled out basically about attacking. So I think,
Cool as a
yeah, that's
cucumber.
something we should try differently, would be a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be down for that. Anything else you wanted to talk about that we
Yeah,
hadn't?
I think it's good to move on to Clan War League because we're on day 7 now. So we've had an interesting clan war league so far. Where
Yeah,
again, we're what we've won every war so far now. We will win the last war. I'm just looking at
yeah.
the standings at the moment, and we're easily going to win the last war. Um,
So
but we're not
March.
barring a massive collapse by the other team. Who we've been going head to head with the entire time, we're not going to promote. I don't think. I think we're now 2 stars down on the overall leaderboard. They've got two additional attacks to do. So I think realistically, we've got 4 attacks left. So the
Oh
maximum we
God.
can get is 12 stars. We're 2 behind. They've got a better overall damage done than we have as well. I'm just looking at it now. They've got massively more damage
They've got
destruction than we
6
have.
attacks left.
Yeah, so they've got 6 attacks. We're 2 behind. We can only get 12 stars. So we need them to get 3 1 stars
No, no
and
problem.
3 2 stars. It, it's
Uh,
and these guys have been
s-
really on point every single war. So we're gonna miss out again on overall. I think we had the same thing. What was it, 2 seasons ago? We came second, and it was exactly the same scenario. We won every single war, and uh, we somehow managed to come second. I think last time as well, I think we won all but one war, or one of the wars, and the team that won it lost 2 wars
yeah,
and
yeah,
still finished on top.
yeah,
And yeah, it's frustrating a little bit because you think, oh, what more can we do? We've even beaten these guys. We had it last month, we had it months before. Um, but you can, at least what I'm seeing as being the difference is it's a little bit that consistency thing that we're almost there.
yeah.
But I was saying yesterday also on chat, we've we've had more of them today, but we had 15 individual attacks that had 95% or higher 2 stars. I mean, the number of 99% 2 stars, it's crazy how many we've been having. You've had at least one. I've had 2 of them.
I've had at least
Um,
2 high 90%.
yeah, I've had 2 of them. Yeah, I think
At
Daddio
least
had
2.
one today as well. And we're almost there, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's kind of like been holding us up the last few months as well is that we've been having a lot of debate in the leaders chat on Discord. Okay, does it make sense? 130s, are we being handicapped? I think that's one of the
Yeah.
questions that people have been saying. Yeah, but you're going with 30 versus 30. It's kind of different. I mean, Tyler was mentioning, oh, how does that work for you? Do you find it works well? Because I think CT Revolution, they just run 15 walls. And it hasn't held us back. Our 15s
Yeah, I
are
felt that's
amazingly good.
yeah.
I think we have two 15s that have gone perfect. And yeah, they mostly get 15s to hit as well. So we're getting with 30-30, you get quite even breakdowns.
Yeah.
And it's definitely more difficult. 17-17 seems to be harder than 15-15.
Hmm.
Um, didn't used to be like that. In Town Hall 15 was so hard, almost no one could 3-star. But obviously, hero equipment flipped everything on its head, right?
Yeah.
It with hero equipment now hitting at the Town Hall 15 level. Town Hall 16 we know as well is easier, right? Everyone
Yeah.
was doing better, I think, at 16, or was doing very consistently well at 16. So it's been really sometimes the 16s have struggled, especially if they have to hit up. And I think that's the big downside of the 30 versus 30. It's
16s.
usually it's the 16s. I think they're the ones that bear the brunt of it because they're more likely to have to hit up. I think the 15s generally they're okay, or a 15 hitting a 16 will do well as well because it's usually a slightly lower 16.
Or
But
17 hitting a
yeah,
16.
or 17 hitting a six, yeah, 17, 16, it can trip people up like no end because you're so used to not
The
having to think
pull.
about the eagle and then suddenly you
Yeah.
do. And I mean, I struggle with that. I,
Yeah.
I, I think one of what was it? I think my Hush account is a 17 and it's rushed, but yeah, I can boost my troops. So then I've got a max army anyway,
It's
but
kind of like
hitting a
going
16, I find more
going back
difficult
to
than 17.
priorities or something.
Yeah.
Like I was I think I hit a 16 in Legend League last night or this morning, and it was kind of used to my normal attack. I'm like, oh wait, I better go over here and do this. But I mean, I remember right away, just having to have that heal, for the town hall.
Yeah.
You just kind of get used to not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I
It,
didn't misspeak on the everybody holding their own on the bottom. I mean, so you don't. So what
oh,
do you
they've been
think a
really good.
15 would look like then? Do you think it would be all 17-17s?
Yeah, I think we got a breakdown shared with us by GCBC of what the majority look like, and for Masters 2, 15-15 were almost exclusively 17s versus 17s, which I think makes sense. I mean, if we look at our roster, we are running now. Quick check. I think we're running now with 18
Yeah.
Town Hall 17s, and that's been pretty much what we're seeing in the 30 versus 30. That everyone's got around about in the range of say 16 to 21 Town Hall 17s per clan, um, which means that if we're going, sometimes we'll be lucky and we'll be going against a clan that's got say 16, so then we've got two extra 17s that
Yeah.
have to hit down, and then other times you have the 16s that have to hit up. So, and it's not like our 17s are all going perfect, and it's like, oh yeah, the guys below us are holding us up. It's not that case at all. But
Yeah.
that's that
It's a,
makes sense to me, I have to say. And I think if we go up to, because we've talked about this as well, if we go up to Masters 1, I would expect it to be almost exclusively 17s, even in the 30 verses.
yeah.
Um, 17, 16s, I think there'll be almost no 15s. And if you go to champions, you have to do 50 verses anyway, and then it's always going to 17s
17
with maybe the
17s.
odd few 16s, because I think a 16 can hit a 17 quite well if they're practiced at it. I mean, we've got the elite in our team who seems to every day be posting. He's a 15 and he posts every day replays where he's completely wiped out Town Hall 17. So,
Yeah,
you know,
these 15s are like
Pies
doing some
Pies a
really
bit
like
exactly.
interesting, like
Oh,
good stuff. Like it,
really good attacks, yeah. And Pie's a bit like that as well. I think Pie's
he's at
really
his
confident. He can hit up
perfect.
pretty well as a 15,
Yeah,
but I don't know that you could take them into a war where they have to hit 17s every single time. I don't think it's kind of really fair, right? They're going to get tripled every time, and then they have to triple. They have to go perfect basically to be even. So
our 15s are
I
the
think,
ones
yeah. So I
with
think the 30's done well for us. I have to be honest.
the
I
perfect.
like the breakdown of it, but it means that there's very little room for uh, failure. I think
Yeah,
not because not because of the fact that, uh, like we said, it's nothing to do with the lower guys whatsoever. They've done their job absolutely. Um, I think the biggest issue we're seeing is you can only one team gets promoted, right? Usually
yeah.
it's the top two, and if like our league, I'm just having a quick look at the stats. So we're sitting at the moment in second by 2 stars. And like I said, we've got 4 attacks left. I think the guys who are in first have got 6. So statistically speaking, they're going to beat us, right? Um, then the team in third is about 40 stars below us,
So we're
and the
pretty.
team in
Oh yeah.
fourth is 70 stars below us. So, and we're within a couple of stars of first. So there's obviously two clans who are above and beyond the rest, right? The other 6, but only one guy goes up. And
Yeah. It's
last month there were 3 of us. They were all neck and neck going into the last war. But then 2 seasons ago, it was the same thing as this season. Top 2, way and above, better than everyone else. And yeah, you get a bit of luck going against you. You get those high 90% 2 stars, enough of them rack up, and you're going to get more of them when there's less people. Just
well, they
by
must
law of averages, right?
they
So
must just be in those matches eking out what 2 stars more a war or
yeah,
so than us
yeah, because we beat them, which means
because
we got, I think
and
we
by
beat
one
them by one
star.
star.
Yeah,
So that was an 11-star advantage, right? Because you get the
yeah,
10-star bonus. But no, I mean, I've gone through their, how well they've done against the same people we hit. And in some of the wars, it's been equal. But then, like the last, in a couple of wars, we got like 5 stars lower than they did. And they tend to be the ones where I don't want to say we take our foot off the pedal because I don't think that's the case. I don't think, and it doesn't really work that way. When there's 30 people hitting, it's not a case of like a few people going, "Oh, it's one. I'm not going to
yeah,
bother," because I'm not seeing that at the end of the war people are doing badly at all. I think it's just a bit of luck goes against you or goes in your favor, and when
yeah.
it's that close, it just comes down to sometimes bit of luck. I think that these guys that are going to come first, the last 2 wars they've been really good and really high scores, whereas before that they weren't
Yeah.
doing. We had a really
Because
big lead over them,
it wasn't until
but
this
they
last
just chipped it
week
away.
where we were like, or this last two
It's
wars
just the
ago where
last 2 wars ago, yeah, because
we were
I
like,
think was it at the end of War 5 we said, oh, we've got a like I think we had something stupid like a 7-star lead over them, and
yeah,
we
and
were
then it's
looking at the people we were facing, and we said, oh, we've got this. Yeah, we've definitely got this. We're definitely going to win the last 2. We should be able to get higher than they got for those 2 wars. Looking at how well they've done so far, and then yesterday just went badly for so
yeah,
many of us, so many of us who were getting threes quite consistently. It's just
in a couple
all in one go. You all got,
99%,
yeah, exactly.
and then it
And
like couple
that star
times.
makes such a big difference, right?
Yeah,
If you're thinking to yourself, you get a 99%, and it's
yeah,
the same as a 51%, right? Or a 50%,
yeah.
basically. 50% two star or a
because you're just like
99%
right
two
there.
star. In Clan War League, there's like no difference whatsoever. I mean, unless you tie and then you get damage done of damage cause. But yeah, it's like, and there's such a huge skill gap between being able to get just about eking out a two star and being able to
Yeah.
get that three. Um,
Kind of wonder what'll happen when maybe it's when it falls too. Cause like maybe it's a little bit about the endurance of the week, right? Like,
I think so.
because by the
Yeah,
time you're getting into day 5, 6, and 7, I feel like you're starting to get, like, I start to get kind of tired, right? Like,
yeah.
and we're doing a lot of moving around and doing those things,
Oh, yeah, but
like for
then
the
the
ore
all wars.
wars
Yeah,
and we had
exactly.
that comp and stuff. And maybe if it, and I've noticed like with Legend League stuff too, and maybe it makes a difference when that part of the CWL falls during the week,
Yep.
like because this time it fell Friday, Saturday is when we kind of
Yeah.
started to have that little bump as people are tired and um I don't know if it plays in, but I'm just starting to wonder, like what are the as we go through CWL every month, like and we're dialing it up, turning it up, turning it up. What's the
Yeah,
next
I
thing
think
we
we
can
need
do?
to, yeah, exactly, because I think the all wars are good. We've had a bit more participation this month, last month. So a few more people have been jumping on. But then there's a lot of attacking you have to do. So if you're doing Legends League and you're doing a couple of hits in your all war for that day, and you're going to do your Clan War League hit, and what I don't know if the other guys in the clan have this, but if I've then got to do raid weekend,
Oh yeah.
that's yet another thing that and then and most people don't have that much time to play the game. We don't, not
Yeah.
everyone can be playing for 6 hours every day
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, some of us play a bit too much. And I have a tendency not to do raid weekend during Clan Wally because I can't. I mean, I've got too many accounts anyway, and I'm
Oh, I
running.
suppose, yeah.
Yeah, I ran what, six of them in. I've run three in L this month, and I ran three in L2. L2 we're promoting in first place.
Hell
First
yeah.
month in Crystal 3, and we've
Moving
just
on up.
decimated the field. We had a really, really good month. So, congrats to everyone in L2 because that was a
Hoorah.
fantastic, fantastic month.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and we've done really well in L.
Yeah.
7 wins is like I said, it's the best you could do. You're undefeated.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can be undefeated and lose out on points, right? You
Yeah.
know, it's
Which
it's
is
it's
important to remember too, like for next time, is like if
yeah,
we, and I think as we find, I feel like this month in particular, there's like finding the rhythm post update kind of
exactly.
thing. Like I felt the least confident going into this CWL, like where I like my army. I think I've switched my army, di-
Yeah.
different attacks, right? So like I've been playing with it more even just during CWL, but so maybe make that grind. But we're definitely like the big kids on the block,
Oh yeah.
like now. So it's like we're just right there to go up, and I imagine
Yeah, and
this is going to be when we go up. It's going to be like this the next round too, right?
oh god, yeah. I mean, and we will definitely go up because the luck that's gone against us, luck goes with you, right? It always goes in cycles. You can have a bit of bad luck for a couple of months. It'll come back around again, especially in a game like this. I think the one thing that I would like to do different next month, I wouldn't play about with the format of switching to 15. For one thing, I think the 30 versus, I'm liking the balance at the moment, and I think while we can do 30 versus, it makes sense to. I think if we get promoted, it's different. We have to take a look at it, and we have to agree as a clan. Okay, does it, because you don't want to go up and then get demoted
Demoted.
straight away, right? I think that would be very tough
Yeah.
for everybody. Um, so I think it's good to stick with the 30 versus if we don't get promoted again. because of at least another month. And but then we also
Yeah.
then have to see what the opposition clans are like, because if next month, if you think about it, everyone's progressing, right? And every
Yeah.
clan, people move up town halls.
Yeah.
So it could well be in 2 months' time, it's all 17 because of all the 16s have gone 17 and the 15s maybe jump over 16 if they're rushed, or there'll be 17-16 breakdown. So we just need to make sure that we're doing the same.
Yeah.
Um, and it will help that L2 is doing well. I mean, we're in Crystal 2.
And then there'll be
Um, they hopefully can get up to Crystal 1. Who
and
knows?
where's
I
Angry
think
Wookiees?
actually Angry Rookies, I think I left it in Crystal 2.
Crystal 2. Okay.
So yeah, so we've now got to the same level. So we've got L2. So that's why we said that with L2, we want to get L2 up to that level at least.
Yeah.
Um, And Angry Rookies has always just been there as kind of like a fallback if we ever needed
Yeah.
anything. But I and that may become an option in the future. But to be honest with you, what would make sense is that if we can get L2 up to Crystal 1, we know from when we did it as L, Crystal 1, and I had it for one season with Angry Rookies as well, that the makeup was 17s down to 14s. So you then do need, or 16s down to 14s it was back then. So we probably will need the guys who are 15 and 16 to move to L2 to be competitive, for example, in Crystal 1.
Yeah.
Otherwise, L2 will have the same thing as Angry Rookies had. It would, we had had a lot of my other accounts in there. We had a lot of people's second accounts, and we hit that ceiling, right? That
Yeah.
you couldn't go any further. So I think that is maybe an option if everyone's happy with it. If we do get
Yeah.
up to Masters 1, that we try the 15 and the 30,
Yeah.
see how we get on. If we're finding that we're struggling with the 15, we can open up and say, just go for the 30 again. Why not? If we're not actually
Well,
finding it any easier.
and I think we've had
um,
the team going for a long time, like where
we have,
we we went back to the 30
yeah,
and in the meantime L2 is getting into that more competitive range, so that way when we have to split for CWLs, then it's a good CWL for everybody. And then we've got
exactly.
two competitive um clans for that point.
Yeah,
And that's been and so I think then if we're kind of orienting to to that 15 because we know it's going to be, then we can start to put into place, how we are going to pick that roster. But I feel like we pretty much kind of flow, month to month. We know who are, we only have like X 18 17s, right? So it's
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
it's not like the, it's
No,
not like we have this whole roster redesign or have to like,
no,
um,
no, no,
and then like,
no. Yeah,
and I feel like the people who want to do more competitive stuff, we're starting to do that now too. Um, with like the comp teams and things. So
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, exactly. It's naturally going somewhere, right?
yeah,
You're not needing to, because I thought about it that I was toying with the idea, for example, even in this war, of just telling everyone, okay, where you have to hit. Because there's certain people I know will two-star. Um, there's others I know can, if they hit their mirror,
yeah,
because you start getting that, right?
yep,
You start you can look at the breakdown, and some people will two-star but expect a 3,
yep,
and that's what I mean with those 90s. There's others who will always get you a solid two-star, and you need that as well, because
yep,
not everyone can three-star. It's unrealistic.
yeah,
um and you can be tactical about it. I mean, I could have gone and said, all right, all the 15s hit a 17 and just grab A2.
yeah,
uh, these 17s all hit the 15, you're more likely to get a 3. The 16s will split you, for example. But, and we may have ended up with possibly 4 or 5 extra stars out of it. But you need to do that over multiple wars.
yeah,
So we did that, I think, a few wars ago because we were struggling in 1 month. So the next month I was just telling everyone where to go, and it helped us out. But then people started to settle, like you sort of said, with the new town hall level. Now got a lot more 17, so it became less necessary
Yeah.
to do that. Um, some people take it the wrong way when you tell them
Right.
that they have to hit low,
Right.
and which I appreciate. No one wants to be told, yeah, I don't trust you to get a three, so hit low. And you can say it in a nice way,
Right.
obviously, but the
And it's
reality is
really you're just looking at the board. Like,
exactly, you're looking at how can I maximize? There's no
yeah.
point, the 15, but then that only makes sense if your 15s aren't three-starring, and our
Yeah.
15 3-star. So if I tell the guy to hit low to get a
Yeah.
three and the 15 to hit high to get a two, well, it's the 15 is going to three anyway. What's the point?
Yeah.
You're gonna equal out anyway to what they would have gotten initially. So that's why I like where we are now.
Yeah.
Um, I'll go over some of the stats at the end. We may need to talk about rotating
Yeah.
some people in, but like you said, it's not like we've got a huge amount of people who are missing out.
Right.
We try to fit everyone in, which is the advantage of a 30. A lot of people get to participate.
Yeah.
But you never know, we might have a couple of returning players next time,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Perhaps.
We'll have to wait and see, which would help. And because
And
and
most
then
of
we
that
can
even
think about it maybe.
is like taking out a mini, right? Like and moving a
Yeah,
mini to a
exactly.
different or a second account to a different
Yeah,
so it kind of feels like to like L like is getting there, right? Like where the team is like
we
is
are. Yeah,
is even within the team, it's as everybody's been playing together for a long time, filling those niches up or whatever, and you have
yeah, exactly.
um
And there's nothing wrong with finding your level, right?
right,
We're not everyone can be a champs one clan or even
right,
consider being a champs one clan, right? That's the reason why champions, I guess, is the champions league. Um, I think we're good enough to go up. I think we're good enough to definitely hit Masters one. I think um, if we get there, we'll have to do 15 versus because you need to do 15 versus if you get to champs three.
yeah,
Um, but if we go back over the logs, I think as a group we are, certain people are standing out more and everyone is progressing more.
yeah. That's
We
we're
had a lot
catching
of
up to those
Yeah, we have a
levels
lot
of
less
like
one stars, huh?
yeah,
That's what I've noticed. And part of it is obviously the shifting meta, the game in
yeah,
general, favoring maybe attacking over defending. But
and then
then people get more confident because they do well, and it's been an enjoyable experience.
and the
Um,
mindset too of like that we kind of started saying of like focus on the 2 star over the 1 star.
yeah.
The three
Well,
star
yeah.
attempts,
Focus on the two over taking the risk for the three and maybe getting the one.
and
Yeah,
that kind of gets into our brains a little bit. That's like where we're
it
not
does. It can
risking
do.
it, and
Yeah.
so much. I know, like my hit, I'll look at it and be like, okay, I got to for sure get that too, so I'll hit a little bit different, and maybe just those little tweaks over time.
But it is but that's all it is. I mean, like seriously, if all those 95 pluses, they weren't with like a lot of, I mean, in a couple of cases, there were big defensive buildings left over because 195 isn't the same as another, right? If you have
Yeah,
five core defenses left over, it doesn't matter if you're given like an extra 10 troops, you're not going to get them down, right?
yeah,
Um, but a lot of them, they were just simply a couple of buildings at the end. It's the dreaded time fail. The number
yeah,
of time fails that we had, we would have been promoted.
yeah.
If we didn't have time fails, we would 100% have been promoted this time. And yeah, that's like you said, it's maybe people rushing a little bit or they a bit too much because it's the weekend. It's the last 2 days. We maybe need to think about okay, how maybe not doing an all war, for example, in the last 2 days, or and
Yeah,
or saying to people, do you want to be rotated out? Right?
yeah,
Some people always hit. I mean, I'm hitting with three. Daddio hits with three,
yeah.
or Hell hits with 2 to 3 every single time because we
That's a
have the
lot.
30. so that between the three of us, that's what, 8, 9 accounts, right?
I hope you're staying hydrated.
Um, yeah, and what is it? Warhog hits with 2 or 3. I think I've got him down as 3 this war, for example. That's
so,
also a lot, right?
so yeah, maybe a little bit of
And we've all collectively between, and the reason I'm mentioning all of us have done slightly worse than last time across all our accounts.
yeah,
So we're obviously over relying on certain people, but none of us have done like bad.
yeah,
It's just we've all had a couple of
like
those.
like
It just went wrong. The bloody queen went that way, or
yeah,
for God's sake, I forgot to drop that spell or that right because you're just maybe doing too much.
FML, FML.
Exactly.
That's
Indeed. Yeah. So,
yeah, and I
but
think
I'm positive. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm positive about the future.
me too, and I think like kind of like with that too, like talking about like leadership and kind of coming back to it, like I think like that's where L is going is just doing L's thing, right?
Exactly.
Like keep going forward, building that team and those that want to participate in comp stuff and get more involved and we're even like with that having not everybody can do it. So,
No.
it's not like we are at any point like busting at the seams or like turning people away from like a competition or stuff like that. And so
No.
I think like we
Uh,
just
we
keep it
we
where it,
we're we're lucky that we have a nice cross section culturally wise within L. Those that take the game quite seriously, those that play it as fun.
yeah,
I think everybody when they come together to do CWL does it collectively, right?
yeah,
That it's very rare that someone misses a hit.
yeah,
And to be fair, those that have missed a hit, they don't tend to miss again, or they accept they're going to be left out, right?
yeah,
And sometimes it's beyond their control that they
yeah.
miss a hit.
Life
We've had
happens
it exactly,
and you
and we
trust
then
that
just
if
have to let it go and just kind of move on from it. But everyone takes that part seriously,
yeah,
and then for the rest of it, people play as they want. It's we talk a lot about Legends League. Um, we've got a
no,
good number in Legends League, but
yeah,
we're not. We've got a lot of
it's
17s who
not
aren't in there. We've
mandatory.
got 15s that are in there. We've got
Yeah, yeah.
16s who are pushing on in there for fun, and
Some people are
it's
doing
not
that.
mandatory. And yeah,
Some of us are doing the
we
comps. Some are just doing work. Some are
exactly. Yeah.
hanging
And
out.
even the comps, I don't want to say we're not taking them seriously, but we're not going over the top with them, you
Yeah, we're
know?
not yelling at each other, or
Oh
we know we're
God.
practicing and figuring it out and like
Yeah.
having
Which
fun with it.
to be fair, we haven't been on voice chat yet when you attack, so you might end up finding me swearing at you a lot for doing the wrong thing.
Oh,
But
you should.
that's just
You
as a
should. That's what
pre-warning.
I need.
But actually, I usually do that when
Drop
I'm attacking. I'm usually
it.
swearing at myself
Are you?
for yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I'm usually just
Uh,
like, I usually have the music on. I have to get into the
I
zone.
I can get very frustrated with myself when it goes wrong, and
You
I
should be
must
there
say,
when Spaceman attacks. You have never heard the amount of profanity that
I said,
he's
now
so
you've said it,
funny
we've
to
got to set it
listen.
up. We have
Oh
to
my
set that up.
god, he just swears at him. Just oh,
That's the
it's
way
the
to do it, right? It
funniest thing
can be
ever.
such a frustrating game in this
You
game.
mother. He's just like just he's he's not. I don't know how to describe it. Um,
In my
he'd be
household,
the
it's
guy that grinds you. Like,
oh really?
yeah, the
Yeah.
real good positive. I'd like him as a personal trainer. Get it, you son of a bitch. It's awesome.
I was gonna say, we have that in my house with Mario Kart. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
especially playing against my two teenage kids. It's like because they always beat us. Me and my missus will be swearing like anything, and one of the kids will be upstairs and we'll be playing with the other one, and the other kid will come downstairs and say, "You must have been playing Mario Kart," because the amount
That's
of
awesome. It's
profanity
like,
thrown at our poor children,
yeah.
playing that, it's just unbelievable. It really is.
They deserve it. No. Well,
Absolutely.
should
Should
we
always
do?
let your parents win.
Do you want to do shout outs?
Yeah, yeah,
All
that
right.
sounds good. You can go first. Gives me time to think about it.
Well, I'm gonna shout out uh Way and Pi. I know we've talked about them. Right now they are the only CWL members with perfect in CWL, right? Or wait, let's see here.
Yeah,
Wayward,
I think
Awesome,
so.
and Void, Daddio. Way and Awesome are both 15s and killing it. Uh, Shout out to you first and foremost. There's supposed to be a big shout out last week, and I got done, and I was like, oh shit. Thanks for CWL. Uh, can't tell you, I was super running behind, and as I start to get down and into it, there Chewie has it all figured out and ready. And so I just said, what do you want me to do before I do something else that you've already thought of? And so thank you so much for doing that. And it makes it look so seamless and easy, but I know how much work it is. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Uh, Shout out to, I guess, the House of L in general. Um, how about you? Maybe I'll think of some more as I'm every time.
Yeah, I think last time I went, I waxed lyrical about GCBC, so I'll leave the guy alone this time around. But shout out definitely to all the co's, and
Yeah,
I think this time around, especially the swim, Beer Zombie and Warpick for joining in on our little comp team that we've got set up. We've
yeah,
I've been getting into that. I know we talked a lot about it already, about how difficult it is, but it's been fun. The five
y-
of us kind of signing up and
yeah,
doing our little attempt at trying to be a proper
y-
competitive team and for
yeah,
House of L, and I've really enjoyed it as well. We've got our own little chat set up for five of us. We added Tyler in as well for a bit of advice, and he's been a lot of help as well with
yeah. He gets a lot of
connecting
like
us to.
those tournaments.
He
He
does,
finds them,
yeah, and
and
he's been a lot of help from that side of things, and so do big shout out to Tyler as well.
it's kind of a cool
Um,
little event to like. What was it the other day? It was like a half an hour or 45 minutes. We were
yeah,
done, like from start to
yeah,
finish. So,
exactly.
but it's kind of
Yeah,
a
I think it was meant to go on for longer, but we got knocked out.
yeah,
So for us, it was okay, we're done now. Yeah,
and
but
and it's just kind of a nice little something else to do as part of the game and look forward to and practice
it
for.
is. Yeah, and what I've liked, and that's why I'm giving the shout out to the guys, is the enthusiasm about it as well. We all like attacking, we all enjoy Legends League, and everyone's checking to see who's doing well, and we're looking at stats, and we talk a lot in the co-leaders chat as well.
Yeah,
And no, I think we're a really good core group, the
yeah.
five of us, especially.
It's
We're obviously supported by other really good co's as well,
yeah,
who don't do the aren't into the comm scene, but massively help out with everything else. I mean, obviously Murr especially has been
oh
helping
yeah.
out always with
The
the war CCs, and also
Empress
sends a
of
lot of
L.
encouragement in the chats as well. So
Yeah,
it's been really cool. And it's been
the,
obviously been doing it a lot longer.
yeah.
From what I understood
Just
from Shane, which
yeah,
like I said, I re-listened to that today, and it was like, oh yeah, all these people who have obviously been there a lot longer than I have.
yeah.
Um, but no, I want to give a shout out to Mira as well, because and to DMAX, and with DMAX as well, and how much they do between the two clans
Yeah,
and L and L2 is just incredible.
there's a lot of
So
unseen hands, like kind of everybody's kind of
absolutely.
doing the stuff to make it all come together. And
Yeah, exactly. We always talk about the guys that are involved with the wars and things like that, or have got multiple accounts in wars. But I think yeah, it's we've got a lot of co-leaders that do stuff behind the scenes. So
yeah,
they get my shout out, and obviously thanks for having me on. starting to get a little jealous of the fact
Oh,
that Tyler's been on like 5 times and Swim's been on 3 times. I thought, Jesus, am I ever going to get an invite? Come on
well,
again. I was
Swim just
like,
keeps knocking down the door. He wanted to be in the 3 club. No, just
well, yeah,
he was
we might
happy.
have to do that. I've said this to you before. You know, it's kind of nice when there's a few of us on at the same time. So
Yeah,
we'll have to maybe do
yeah,
that again. Do that
yeah, for
sometime as
sure.
well.
We used to do that. Bunch of the episodes we used to do L Unfiltered, I called it, and we'd have a bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
um people on talking about stuff. We'll get those rolling.
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, well, we'll wrap up with the CWL and be able to talk all about it. And report back also on some of this hard mode stuff because I do have a bunch of ideas now. Um,
Good.
so
Yeah,
well,
and next week you'll have the yeah, we'll have done the comp this week as well, so you'll be able to
yeah, to
say
talk
how we
about
got on
that. And
next
I'm gonna
week.
start recording those too. I mean, if we're like just at least just the replays or something to
Yeah.
go back over.
Maybe leave off the screaming goat next time.
Yeah.
Though it
No,
cracked
that's
us
me.
up no end. That was just fantastic. That was brilliant.
It's like, oh, I'm like, how do I describe how I feel here in my head? And there we go. But
Oh no, it was brilliant. It really was.
well, until next time, get a hold of us at Clash of Clans Podcast. .com or Clash of Clans Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us in the House of L in Clash of Clans. Well, thank you, Chewie. Until next time, keep it clashy.
Keep it clashing.
Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.